Hi everyone, for today's book review we're going to be checking out, and we'll make sure I don't get the glare into the camera, we're checking out the Encyclopedia of U Boats from 1904 to the present by Eberhard Müller and Werner Brack. I should point out that this book was published almost 20 years ago, so the present according to this book was 2004. So it's certainly ripe for a revised edition. On the face of it, it is a photographic and listing summary of every U-boat that the Germans have produced and put into service, from the very first prototypes, early experimental craft, right through to the export Type 212. As you can see up there in the images, the bulk of the book is basically a listing of each U-boat with a very brief history of its fate, together with stats of each class. However, the advantage of this book isn't from that side of things, it's rather from the second half, which is a discussion about some of the other aspects of U-boat service, in particular machinery. So we look at we get an analysis of the different diesels, the different engines that were used in all the various U-boat classes, as well as a technical but quite easy to read discussion about the future machinery, nuclear versus closed cycle engines, which are good alternatives to atomic power. In addition, there's discussions about torpedoes, weaponry, as well as a look at the submarines run by the Austro-Hungarians. And what I found also especially interesting was a look at individual U-boat aces across both world wars, as well as their victims, i.e. the ships that they sank. This was quite valuable. I was originally disappointed when I would see the listing of all the U-boat types. I was hoping that there would be plans of each U-boat so that you could see from a diagram perspective the progression and refinement of each class. There are plans in there, and there are plenty, particularly for the early submarines and World War I. There are a handful of the World War II types. But this is something that I would have liked more. And if you do want to analyze your U-boats from diagrams and cutaways, then I do recommend either Submarines of World War II by Erminio Bagnasco, or Groner's incredible multi-volume work, the German Navy from, I think, 1815 to 1945. That particular book, with its volume on submarines, does provide an illustrated plan view of submarine types. Having said this, this is still a fantastic reference work, highly detailed, easy to read, easy to understand. The main author, Eberhard Müller, actually served on board the Tirpitz, and through his war service was one of the first crews that was going to be allocated to the new Type 21 submarines, but the war ended before he could be commissioned into the submarine, and his submarine as well was sunk. So he writes from personal experience, and his understanding of submarines is not just a professional element, it also comes from a personal perspective. And as I said, this book is now, unfortunately, 20 years old, so it would be interesting to get an updated revision, particularly on the analysis of weapons, sensors, and the role of submarines in the 21st century. But having said that, if you can get this book quite cheaply, I got this book for $5, it is a fantastic reference. And for that, I give it a 3 captain's hats. So do check it out. The Encyclopedia of U Boats. And of course, if there are any other books about submarines, submarine victims, Just let me know in the comments below, and I'm sure I can dig something out in my library. So until next time, enjoy and happy reading, everyone.